$2,000 Taylor Swift concert ticket nearly destroyed my marriage. Hey everyone, welcome back to Reddit Bit. What would you do if your spouse spent $2,000 on a single concert ticket, filled your home with merchandise, and then replaced your wedding photos with posters of their favorite celebrity? And when you finally spoke up about it, they accused you of being the problem. We're talking about a woman who described a Taylor Swift concert as the best night of my life, who spent hours watching concert footage frame by frame, and who turned their apartment into what Jason called a Taylor Swift shrine. But here's the real question at the heart of this story. Where's the line between supporting your spouse's passions and enabling an unhealthy obsession? And what happens when one person in a relationship feels like they're competing with someone who doesn't even know they exist? Let's dive in. My name is Jason Carter, and I'm a 33-year-old software developer working for a tech startup in Seattle. I met my wife, Emma, at a friend's housewarming party in Capitol Hill about 6 years ago. She was this vibrant, creative force of nature who worked as a marketing specialist for an indie record label. Her passion for music was one of the things that initially attracted me to her. She knew everything about emerging artists and always had the perfect playlist for every occasion. After dating for 2 years, we got married in a small ceremony at Discovery Park with the Puget Sound as our backdrop. We moved into a cozy apartment in Fremont, adopted a rescue cat named Pixel, and settled into that comfortable rhythm that defines the early years of marriage. We both had our own interests. I was into hiking and photography, while Emma was an avid reader and concert goer, but we always made time for each other. About a year ago, something shifted. Emma had always enjoyed pop music, but she'd never been particularly focused on any one artist. Then, during the pandemic lockdown, she discovered Taylor Swift's Folklore album. "Jason, you have to listen to this," she said one evening, practically shoving her headphones onto my ears. "It's completely different from her earlier stuff. The storytelling is incredible." I listened politely and agreed it was good. I've always appreciated Taylor Swift as a songwriter, even if her music wasn't exactly my go-to. Emma seemed satisfied with my response, and I thought that was that. But it wasn't. Over the next few weeks, Emma didn't just listen to Folklore. She immersed herself in Taylor's entire discography. She started with the recent albums and worked her way backward, discovering Taylor's evolution as an artist in reverse. It's like getting to know someone from who they are now, and then understanding how they became that person, she explained excitedly. Each album tells a different chapter of her story. I thought it was cool that she'd found something that brought her so much joy, especially during such a difficult time when the pandemic had cut us off from so many normal activities. Emma created elaborate playlists organizing Taylor's songs by theme rather than album: heartbreak songs, revenge songs, growing up songs. She'd play them while cooking dinner, during her morning routine, even as background music while we watched TV. "Do we have to have Taylor Swift playing literally all the time?" I asked one evening, trying to keep my tone light. "Oh, sorry," Emma said, looking a bit embarrassed as she turned down the volume. "I guess I've been a bit obsessed lately." "A bit," I teased, and she laughed, acknowledging her newfound passion. But what started as a pandemic hobby soon evolved into something more intense. Emma joined Taylor Swift fan groups on Reddit, Twitter, and Discord. She started using phrases like Easter eggs and Swiftie theories in regular conversation. She bought merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, limited edition vinyl records. Our apartment slowly began to transform, with Taylor Swift paraphernalia appearing on shelves, walls, and even our refrigerator. I didn't say anything at first. After all, we'd been stuck at home for months. If Taylor Swift brought Emma happiness during a global crisis, who was I to complain? Then came the announcement that changed everything: Taylor Swift's Eras Tour. Jason, Emma burst into my home office while I was in the middle of a Zoom meeting. I quickly muted myself, alarmed by the urgency in her voice. "What's wrong? Is everything okay? Taylor just announced her tour. It's coming to Seattle." Her eyes were wide with excitement, her hands literally shaking as she showed me her phone. That I gave an apologetic smile to my colleagues on screen and promised to rejoin in a few minutes. When I ended the call, Emma was already on her laptop, frantically refreshing the Ticketmaster website. "Tickets go on sale Friday, but there's a pre-sale tomorrow for verified fans," she explained. "I've signed up for the lottery to get a pre-sale code, but it's not guaranteed. This is going to be huge, Jason." Her first tour in 5 years. Everyone wants tickets. Well, let's hope you get a code then, I said, supportive but not fully grasping the magnitude of what was happening. Over the next few days, Emma was glued to her phone, checking her email constantly for the coveted pre-sale code. When it finally arrived, she screamed so loudly that our neighbor texted to make sure everything was okay. I got it. I got a pre-sale code. She was practically jumping up and down. But now I have to decide what tickets to try for. There are different VIP packages. I looked over her shoulder at the options. The prices made my jaw drop. $2,000 for the top VIP package. Emma, that's insane. It includes front row seats, a special merchandise package, and early entry, she explained, as if that justified the cost. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Jason. I took a deep breath. Look, I know this is important to you, but that's a lot of money. That's our entire emergency fund. Emma's face fell. I know it's expensive, but I've never asked for anything like this before. And I've been working extra freelance projects lately. I can use that money. After some back and forth, we compromised on a less expensive ticket package that was still premium seating, but didn't include all the VIP perks. It was $800, still an astronomical amount for a concert ticket in my opinion, but Emma was over the moon. The day of the pre-sale was intense. Emma took the day off work, set up multiple devices, and prepared like she was going into battle. I brought her lunch and coffee as she sat in a virtual queue for hours. When she finally got through and secured her ticket, the joy on her face was undeniable. I did it. I'm going to see Taylor Swift. She threw her arms around me, and I hugged her back, genuinely happy for her excitement even if I didn't fully understand it. I'm glad, babe. You deserve it. What I didn't realize then was that getting the ticket wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. Over the next few months, Emma's Taylor Swift obsession reached new heights. She bought a special outfit to wear to the concert, joined online groups to discuss concert preparations, and started watching videos from other tour stops to prepare for what she would experience. Our apartment became increasingly Taylor-fied. Posters appeared on walls, collectible items cluttered shelves, and Emma even replaced our living room throw pillows with Taylor Swift-themed ones. Don't you think this is getting a little excessive? I asked one evening, after coming home to find she'd framed and hung a Taylor Swift concert poster in the spot where our wedding photo used to be. What do you mean? She asked, genuinely confused. I mean, she's taking over our home, and our conversations, and our bank account. I tried to keep my tone light, but my frustration was starting to seep through. You're exaggerating, she said dismissively. It's just a few things that make me happy. Besides, you have your entire gaming setup in the spare room, and I never complain about that. She had a point about my gaming area, but there was a difference. My hobby didn't infiltrate every aspect of our lives. I didn't talk about video games constantly or spend hundreds of dollars on gaming merchandise. But I decided not to push it. The concert was coming up soon, and I figured her enthusiasm would naturally wane afterward. I was wrong. So very wrong. The day of the concert arrived, and Emma was practically vibrating with excitement. She'd taken the entire day off work to prepare, getting her hair done in a style reminiscent of Taylor's Midnight's era and applying glitter to, well, pretty much everywhere. How do I look? She asked, twirling in her carefully selected outfit. A sequin dress with handmade friendship bracelets covering both arms, a tradition among Swifties at the Eras tour. Beautiful, I said honestly. Taylor herself would be impressed. Emma beamed. I still wish you were coming with me. I had opted not to attend, partly because of the ticket price and partly because I knew this was something Emma wanted to experience with fellow fans who would appreciate every moment the way she would. Her friend Olivia, who was almost as Taylor-obsessed, was going with her instead. You'll have more fun with Olivia, I assured her. Just take lots of pictures. Pictures? I'm recording the whole thing, she declared. Showing me the extra battery packs she'd packed, I kissed her goodbye and settled in for a quiet evening alone. Around midnight, I received a flurry of ecstatic texts from Emma, declaring it the best night of my life, accompanied by dozens of photos and video clips. When she finally came home at nearly 2 a.m., she was still riding the high of the concert, her voice hoarse from singing along to every song for the 3.5-hour show. It was magical, Jason. Absolutely magical. She performed for over 3 hours. No breaks. At one point, she looked right at our section, and I swear we made eye contact. I listened patiently as she recounted every detail: the set list, the costume changes, the surprise songs, the crowd reactions. Her enthusiasm was both endearing and exhausting. "I'm so happy you had a great time," I said, genuinely meaning it. "You should get some sleep, though? It's late." "Sleep? How can I sleep after that?" she exclaimed. "I'm going to watch all my videos and see if I can spot myself in the crowd shots." I left her to it and went to bed alone, assuming she'd join me eventually. When I woke up the next morning, I found Emma asleep on the couch, her phone still in her hand, Taylor Swift playing softly from the TV. Over the next few weeks, Emma's post-concert behavior surprised me. Rather than satisfying her Taylor Swift craving, the concert seemed to intensify it. She watched her concert videos daily, sometimes frame by frame to catch details she'd missed. She joined even more online fan communities to share her experience and relive the concert through others' footage. Then came the announcement that pushed me to my breaking point. Taylor Swift was releasing a concert film of the Eras tour. "We have to see it opening night," Emma declared. "They're doing a special fan event with exclusive merchandise and behind-the-scenes footage." I stared at her, bewildered. "You want to pay to watch a film of a concert you just attended in person? What?" Emma looked at me like I'd suggested something completely irrational. "Because it's not the same experience. The film will have professional camera work, different angles, close-ups we couldn't see from our seats. Plus, there might be new content or interviews." "Emma," I said carefully, "don't you think this is getting a bit much? You've spent hundreds of dollars on the concert, merchandise, and now you want to see a film of the same concert. It's not just a concert, Jason," she said, her voice rising slightly. "It's an experience. It's art. It's a cultural moment. It's a pop star." I countered, immediately regretting my dismissive tone. To Emma's face hardened. "See, this is exactly the problem. You don't respect what's important to me. You think my interests are trivial or silly." "That's not what I said. It's what you implied," she interrupted. "You've been making little comments for months now. Rolling your eyes when I talk about Taylor. Sighing when I play her music. Acting like I'm some kind of obsessed teenager instead of a grown woman who appreciates an artist's work." Her words stung because there was some truth to them. I had been increasingly irritated by her obsession, and perhaps I hadn't hidden it as well as I thought. "Look," I said, trying to be reasonable, "I don't think your interests are silly. I just think there should be balance. Lately, it feels like everything in our life revolves around Taylor Swift." "That's an exaggeration," Emma insisted. "Is it? When was the last time we had a conversation that didn't somehow circle back to Taylor? When was the last time we watched a movie that wasn't about her or had her music in it? When was the last time we went out without you wearing something Taylor-related?" Emma crossed her arms defensively. "So now you're policing what I talk about and what I wear." "No, I'm trying to point out that this has gone beyond being a fan, Emma. It's taking over your life. Our life." "You're being dramatic," she said dismissively. "Am I? You spent $800 on a concert ticket, probably another $300 on merchandise, and now you want to spend more on a movie of the same concert. You've replaced our wedding photos with Taylor Swift posters. You've changed our home decor to reflect your fandom. You've even started dressing differently to emulate her style. So what if I have?" Emma challenged. "It makes me happy. Isn't that what matters?" "Of course your happiness matters," I said, frustrated that she wasn't seeing my point. "But what about our happiness together? What about the things we used to do as a couple that didn't involve Taylor Swift? We still do things together," she protested. "Like what? Even our date nights have become Taylor-themed. Last week you suggested we go to that restaurant just because Taylor supposedly ate there once when she was in Seattle." Emma was quiet for a moment, perhaps realizing there was some truth to what I was saying. But then her expression hardened again. "I think what's really happening here is that you're jealous," she said. "Jealous? Of Taylor Swift?" I couldn't hide my incredulity. "Yes, you're jealous that I've found something that brings me so much joy, something that exists outside of our relationship. You want me to only be passionate about things that include you. That's ridiculous," I said, though her words made me pause. Was there some truth to what she was saying? Was I somehow threatened by her independent interest? "Is it?" she pressed. "Because it seems like you were fine with my Taylor Swift interest when it was casual, but as soon as it became really important to me, you started having a problem with it. That's not fair," I argued. "I supported you buying that expensive concert ticket. I've listened to you talk about Taylor for hours. I've watched her documentaries with you. How is that not being supportive? There's a difference between tolerating something and actually supporting it, Emma said. You tolerate my interest in Taylor, but you don't support it. You don't try to understand why she means so much to me. You just wait for it to be over, like it's some phase I'll grow out of. Her words hit home harder than I expected. Was she right? Had I been merely tolerating rather than supporting? I'm going to Olivia's, Emma said suddenly, grabbing her purse. I need some space to think. Emma, wait. I started, but she was already heading for the door. I'll be back tomorrow. I just need to be around someone who doesn't make me feel bad about the things I love. The door closed behind her with a decisive click, leaving me alone in our Taylor Swift-adorned apartment, wondering how a pop star had created such a rift between us. After Emma left, I sat on the couch, surrounded by the evidence of her obsession, and tried to sort through my feelings. Was I being unreasonable? Was I jealous, as she'd suggested? Or was my concern legitimate? I decided to call my friend Mike, who had always given level-headed advice. Hey man, Mike said when he picked up. What's up? Emma and I had a fight, I explained. About Taylor Swift. The singer? Mike sounded confused. Yeah, Emma's become intensely devoted to her. It's taking over our lives, and when I tried to talk to her about it, she accused me of not supporting her interests. I gave Mike a rundown of the situation, the concert, the merchandise, the constant Taylor talk, and now the movie plan. That does sound pretty intense, Mike agreed. But I gotta ask, why does it bother you so much? Is it the money? The time she spends on it? Or something else? His question made me think. It's not any one thing, I said slowly. It's the totality of it. It feels like Taylor Swift has become more important to her than our relationship. Like I'm competing with someone who doesn't even know we exist. Have you told her that? Mike asked. Not in those exact words, I admitted. Maybe you should, he suggested. But also, man, think about it from her perspective. This clearly brings her a lot of joy. And the world's been pretty crappy the last few years. If she's found something that makes her happy, is it really so bad? I don't want to take away something that makes her happy, I protested. I just want balance. Then that's what you need to communicate, Mike said. Not that she needs to stop loving Taylor Swift, but that you need to find a balance where her fandom doesn't overshadow your relationship. After talking with Mike, I spent the evening reflecting on our conversation. I realized that part of my frustration stemmed from feeling excluded. Emma had this whole world of Taylor Swift that I wasn't part of, and instead of trying to understand it, I'd been dismissing it. The next morning, Emma returned home, looking tired but calm. We sat at our kitchen table, both clutching coffee mugs, ready for a conversation that was long overdue. I've been thinking about what you said, Emma began, surprising me by speaking first. About balance. And I think you might have a point. I hadn't expected this opening. Thank you for saying that. But, she continued, I also think you don't understand why Taylor's music means so much to me. You're right, I admitted. I don't fully understand it. And maybe that's part of the problem. I haven't really tried to understand, have I? Emma looked surprised by my admission. No, not really. So help me understand, I said, reaching for her hand across the table. Why does Taylor Swift mean so much to you? Emma took a deep breath, as if gathering her thoughts. When the pandemic hit, and everything shut down, I felt so lost. My job was uncertain. We couldn't see friends or family. The world felt scary and unpredictable. Then I discovered folklore, and it was like finding a lifeline. I nodded, encouraging her to continue. Taylor's music became a form of escape when I couldn't physically go anywhere. But it was more than that. Her lyrics made me feel understood during a time when I felt so isolated. And then I started exploring her older music, and I realized how her songs had tracked with different phases of my own life. Emma's eyes lit up as she spoke, her passion evident. Her early country songs remind me of my college days. Her transition to pop coincided with my move to Seattle and meeting you. And her more recent, mature work reflects where I am now, a 30-something woman figuring out adult life. I'd never thought about it that way before, how an artist's evolution could parallel a fan's life journey. And the community aspect is incredible, Emma continued. Being a Swiftie means being part of something bigger than yourself. The friends I've made online, the experiences we share, it's not just about the music. It's about connection. I hadn't considered that, I said honestly. I've been seeing it as this thing that's taking you away from me, but it's actually giving you something meaningful. Exactly, Emma said, squeezing my hand. But that doesn't mean you're wrong about the balance issue. Olivia helped me see that too. She pointed out that I talk about Taylor constantly, even with people who aren't interested. Like me? I asked gently. Emma smiled ruefully. Yes, like you. And she reminded me that while it's great to have passionate interests, they shouldn't come at the expense of other important things, like my relationship with you. I don't want you to give up something that brings you joy, I clarified. I just want to feel like we still have our own connection, separate from Taylor Swift. I understand that, Emma said, and I'm sorry if I've made you feel sidelined or unimportant. That was never my intention. I know, I assured her, and I'm sorry for not being more supportive, for making you feel like your interests aren't valid or important. Emma looked thoughtful. Maybe we both need to adjust. I can try to dial back the Taylor talk and make sure we're still doing things that are just about us. And maybe you could try to engage a little more with why I love her music, instead of just tolerating it. That seems fair. I agreed. Maybe you could make me a playlist of her songs you think I'd actually enjoy? Something to help me understand what you love about her music. Emma's face lit up. Really? You'd listen to it with an open mind. I promise, I said. And in return, maybe we could reinstate our non-Taylor date nights once a week. Deal, she said, smiling. And about the concert film? We can go, I said, surprising her. If it's important to you, I want to experience it with you. Maybe seeing it through your eyes will help me understand better. Emma's expression softened. Thank you. That means a lot. But I was actually going to suggest a compromise. We'll go to the film, but afterward, we'll do something you want to do. Maybe that new hiking trail you've been wanting to try. I'd like that, I said, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. Over the next few weeks, we worked on finding that elusive balance. Emma created a Taylor Swift playlist specifically for me, focusing on songs with lyrics and production she thought I'd appreciate. To my surprise, I actually enjoyed many of them when I listened with an open mind. For her part, Emma made a conscious effort to diversify our conversations and activities. She still participated in her online Swiftie communities, but she contained it to certain times rather than letting it consume her entire day. She even relocated some of her Taylor merchandise to a dedicated corner of our home office. Returning our wedding photo to its rightful place on the mantle, we went to the concert film together, and watching Emma's joy as she experienced the concert again, pointing out details I would have missed, explaining the significance of certain songs and costumes, gave me a new appreciation for her passion. It wasn't just about celebrity worship. It was about artistry, storytelling, and community. One evening, about a month after our confrontation, we were cooking dinner together when a Taylor Swift song came on our shared playlist. Emma started singing along softly, stirring the pasta sauce. You know, I said, chopping vegetables beside her. I think I finally get it. Get what? She asked, looking up. Why you love her music so much. It's not just about the songs themselves. It's about how they make you feel, how they connect you to different parts of your life, and to other people who feel the same way. Emma's face broke into a radiant smile. Exactly. That's exactly it. I still think spending $2,000 on a VIP package would be insane, I added with a grin, but I understand the impulse a little better now. She laughed and bumped her hip against mine playfully. Well, there's always the next tour. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I chuckled, but without the edge that would have been in my voice a month ago. As we sat down to dinner, Taylor Swift still playing softly in the background, I realized something important. Supporting your spouse doesn't mean you have to share all their passions or understand them completely. It means respecting what brings them joy, setting healthy boundaries together, and finding ways to connect despite your differences. Emma would always be a Swiftie, and that was okay. It was part of what made her the vibrant, passionate woman I fell in love with. And I would always be the guy who preferred hiking trails to concert halls, which was also okay. Our differences didn't have to divide us. They could complement each other, as long as we communicated honestly and made space for both of our needs. In the end, it wasn't about Taylor Swift at all. It was about learning to navigate the inevitable differences that emerge in any long-term relationship, with patience, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway. Wow, what a journey Jason and Emma took us on. From Emma's initial discovery of Taylor Swift's folklore during lockdown to that pivotal conversation at Intelligentsia Coffee, we've witnessed a relationship pushed to its limits and then rebuilt through honest communication and compromise. Think about those key moments. Jason's growing discomfort as Taylor Swift merchandise replaced their wedding photos. Emma's post-concert euphoria, watching her videos night after night. The explosive argument when Jason questioned why she needed to see a film of a concert she'd just attended in person. And finally, that beautiful moment when Jason realized it wasn't about the music at all. It was about the meaning Emma found in it during a time when she felt lost and isolated. What makes this story so compelling is how relatable it is. Maybe it's not Taylor Swift in your relationship. Maybe it's sports, video games, a TV show, or even work. The question remains the same. How do we balance our individual passions with our commitment to our partners? Jason and Emma found their answer through honest communication and willingness to see things from each other's perspective. Emma acknowledged that her obsession had created an imbalance, while Jason admitted he hadn't truly tried to understand why Taylor's music meant so much to her. Both made adjustments. Emma contained her fandom to specific times and spaces, while Jason opened himself to appreciating what she loved about the music. So I'm curious. Which side of this story do you relate to more? If you're like Jason, have you ever felt overshadowed by your partner's passion? How did you address it without seeming controlling? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. The beauty of Jason and Emma's story is the reminder that supporting your spouse doesn't mean sharing all their passions. It means respecting what brings them joy and finding ways to connect despite your differences. As Jason realized, it wasn't about Taylor Swift at all. It was about learning to navigate differences with patience, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway. If you enjoyed this deep dive into relationship dynamics, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching, and remember, in relationships, it's not about being the same. It's about making space for each other's differences.